Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrology as I've spelled it out here. Here, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of today's astrology, may just give us something more to think about. So, let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page has changed, friends. It is the Six of Swords now. And it's here for a reason. It's here because it corresponds in astrology with the second 10 days, or the second decan, of the sun's transit here in the land of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is an air sign. Swords and Tarot represent air element symbolism. And air element symbolism is all about the intellect, logic, communication, conflict and analysis, basically the thinks we think, the plans we make, and the way we communicate with other people, okay? With the caveat, you know, in swords, that the sword of truth is sort of double-edged, right? We can use our plans and our words to help or to do some harm. So, you know, hopefully our intention is always to help. But there it is. That's the power of your word, right? So we come to the Six of Swords, and we see a sort of a scene of sort of escape. The first time I saw this, I thought, gosh, this person is in a hurry to get out of here, right? And you see sort of a hooded figure here. There's a child huddled next to them. You can't see any of these people's faces, right? And then somebody is sort of pushing them off from the shore. There are 6 swords embedded in this boat, okay? So this is the thoughts, plans, and words of ourselves or perhaps other people that have given us reason to want to get away, right? So there's this feeling of transition here. We're leaving something behind. We're moving on. And this is a journey that's often initiated to remove us from something that is making us sorry that we got involved, something that has been painful or unpleasant for us. It's necessary for our own progress to sort of leave this situation behind, right? And leaving a painful place and going to a distant environment that promises more potential is really a positive thing, right? Even if it doesn't look very happy right now, we may not be very happy to feel like we have to leave, or that to feel like we have to let go of a certain connection or a certain collaboration, right? But it's really for the best. It's really for us to be able to achieve our potential. It's really to empower us in the future. And, you know, you can kind of see it on this card. Often in the Six of Swords, you see in the foreground, the water is a little more active and choppy, whereas in the distance, it's actually kind of calm. And that just talks about our emotional state, right? When we're considering sort of the thoughts, plans, and words that have put us in this position, whether they are our own or another's, or, you know, a result of some things that got said or done back and forth, right? You know, the emotional waters over here are in more turmoil, and in the distance they look calmer. So we're trying to get to a place where we can have a calm emotional state so that we can sort of think and plan and communicate in a new way that doesn't have anything to do with these old things that have sort of hurt us. And with that said, I'm going to turn this card over. We got the Page of Wands. Okay, we haven't seen this one in a minute. Okay, so the page is a member of the royal family in the Wands saga here. So wands are fire element symbolism. This is about your spark, your drive, your sense of initiative, your passion, your zeal for something. It can even be like restlessness and impatience, a sort of impetuousness, a desire to move forward at any cost, right? So the Page of Wands is a youthful figure. It denotes sort of a lack of inexperience, not a complete lack of experience, like the Fool is a complete zero, right? Sort of just starting off on their journey, not really knowing anything about where they're going. Page of Wands has a tool that they know how to use. They have a set of tools that they know how to use. And that, again, is that drive, that zeal, that sense of initiative, that ability to work with the momentum of a situation to get things done, right? Wands want to make accomplishments. They want to They want to be able to sort of stack up those trophies, say, hey, look at all these wonderful things I've done, right? And the Page of Wands is a person who's just getting started in the world, and they have a lot of passion and zeal and drive and initiative. They probably have some great ideas, but they're kind of untested. So, you know, what we lack in experience, we make up for in enthusiasm here. And where do we see this on the page today? Well, the moon is going to be conjunct to Mars this evening. So I want to point that out. You know, Mars is in Gemini, has been for several months, which is unusual. Mars was retrograde for a while. Now it's going forward again. It will finally leave Gemini, since it's been there for 7 months, for about 5 months now. It'll finally leave Gemini and move into Cancer at the end of March. So, you know, Mars and Gemini, that's fire and air. That's a very impetuous vibe. Mars in Gemini tends to start a lot of different things and not necessarily complete them. That would be a very Page of Wands sort of ideal. The Mars in Gemini, you know, needs to seek collaboration to make progress. We have to work together with other people, okay? We can't just do these things on our own. And tonight, when the moon is conjunct to Mars, there's a really physical vibe to a real physicality to this aspect, because first of all, conjunct brings the intensity from our perspective here on the earth, because astrology is geocentric. It's centered around the earth, and we know that the solar system is not centered around the earth. Astrology is not scientifically accurate like that. It's about our perspective from where we are. And from our perspective tonight around 10:30, this conjunction will be exact. It is close enough to call it a conjunct now, but this conjunction will be exact, and that brings an intensity. It's like these two are overlapping each other. They're in the same place in the sky from our perspective, and so they're set to sort of brighten one another's effects, right? So the moon is about your body, it's about your personal feelings, it's about your private life, it's about your interactions with the people you keep close. And Mars is really very physical. It's about physical interaction, it's about taking action, it's about getting things done, right? And it can be it's like the most sexual planet too. It's very assertively sexual. So, you know, today and this evening, this can be a very sexy vibe. If we are, you know, in the right frame of mind, it will be easy to take initiative, you know, in that way, if we've got a willing partner, or, you know, if we're on our own. And then if we're not in the right frame of mind, we can be more like combative, competitive, and aggressive. So we might not be very good company. It might actually be better to go it alone this evening if we don't think that we can play nice with others, right? What else do I see on the page here? I see Jupiter essentially conjunct to Chiron. They are within 10 degrees of one another. This is growth and positive opportunity, good fortune, in an intensified and intensifying, because these are going to get closer together, relationship with our personal ability to work on our own healing. And Chiron in Aries is healing the self of social wounds, of sort of old embarrassments, past conflicts with people sort of outside our home, and, you know, at times when we were either mocked or embarrassed or left out or made to feel bad in some way in a kind of social context, right? So when we have those experiences, especially in youth, Aries is very youthful, right? And I'm speaking to Aries because it is a fire sign. Aries is very youthful, and so when we have those kinds of experiences in our youth, they really can mark us for a long time. They can change the way we interact with people. You know, if you have something very upsetting or embarrassing happen to you in a public way, you know, that will change your behavior very quickly. You will learn very quickly, oh, nope, not going to do that again, not going to allow that to happen again, right? And so in that way, we sort of live ourselves into a smaller and smaller box eventually of not going to let that happen again, right? So Chiron is here in Aries to help us, make that box a little bit bigger, or get out of our tiny box and into a bigger box. Okay, so that we can heal some of the stuff that it's just no longer that serious to us anymore now that we are older. If you're like me and you're close to 50, then you're experiencing a Chiron return right now. That's a 50-year return. So there are a lot of those old things that we find we can let go of. And because we can let go of them, we don't have to take those actions that say, oh, I'm not going to let this thing happen, right? We don't have to worry about having those defenses up. So, self-healing and growth and good opportunities, good fortune, the potential for prosperity, all here in Aries saying, if you take action, you will have this growth and healing. And notice that the sun, another fiery planet, is over here in Aquarius, an air sign, earth, air and fire, very fiery vibe. Sun is trine to Mars and the moon today. Okay, so the sun is making a trine to this really intense physical drive to act in a personal way, but also in an outer life way, in a social way. We're blessed with positive vibes, with ease of action at this time when we are actually culminating some goals. So this is really good time to be taking action, especially in the direction of those things that we want to accomplish, no matter how inexperienced we think we might be with them. Okay, and then Jupiter and Chiron down here are in sextile condition with all of those planets I just mentioned. And that growth and healing are on offer to us. They are working together with us, so that when we take action, we can experience those expanded opportunities, that good fortune, and that personal healing. So beautiful, beautiful vibes for the Page of Wands today, okay? No matter what you think, if you feel like I've never done this before, I'm afraid to do it, I'm afraid to do it without a friend, or I'm afraid to try to do it with a friend, and it being whatever it is you're trying to culminate in time for the full moon here. Just understand that taking action should come easily at this time. A little energetic tip here, since this is a time when it should be easy to take action, especially toward those goals we're trying to culminate. If you're not finding that ease, if you feel like you keep getting stopped, if you feel like things keep coming up and getting in the way, like we can't make any progress at all, it's time to check in on the plans that you're trying to culminate. Make sure you're fully aligned with them. Make sure that your heart is all the way in it, okay? Half-hearted action, half-hearted commitment at this time will not work for you. You have to be all the way in. You have to be fully invested in your in the goals that you're trying to culminate. And if you're not going to find that ease of action so much, all right? Or the positivity that you seek isn't going to be coming out of it. So, if you're not getting that, there is still time this month and always time after even the full moon to sort of adjust our perspective and adjust our trajectory and our approach to achieving what it is that we'd like to achieve. Now let's put these together. We got the Six of Swords and the Page of Wands. Well, it's a fresh start, isn't it? Often, we do have to sort of move away from an old situation, a collaboration with friends or with professional peers, a cohort of some kind. An argument ensues, nobody can agree on anything. Perhaps everybody thinks it's your fault and it would be better if you just went away, right? There are lots of reasons that could come up. There are lots of sort of conversations and plans and things that can go wrong in a collaboration that might make it better for us just to move away from the situation, to literally and figuratively create some distance for ourselves from that situation and not show our faces around there anymore, right? But that doesn't mean we don't ever get to show our face again. That doesn't ever mean that we don't get to continue pursuing our goals. We really have to stay invested in what it is that we're trying to do. Perhaps this indicates a little course trajectory, right? We thought we had these people that we could collaborate with. We thought we had people that we could trust. We find that we can only trust ourselves and perhaps our oarsmen in this situation, perhaps just ourselves and our driver. But that's okay, because when we get onto calmer waters, we can take stock of our situation. We can make a fresh start. We can still be working toward the goal that we're passionate about, the thing that we've got, that we've got the initiative to do. Yeah. It's not all bad having to walk away from a situation. You can feel pretty sad. There's a vibe to this card that gives me rejection, and so whenever I hear the word rejection these days, I think rejection is the God's protection, right? So if you've been kicked out of a club, or if you have excused yourself from a group of people, or just one person, or just a situation where the language wasn't right, where people were not being kind, or they were not being helpful, or they were not collaborating with you well. If you've had to move on from that situation, it may feel heavy, it may feel terrible, it may feel like a weight on your heart, because you thought you were going to do this one way, and it turns out you're going to have to do it another way, right? And it can feel like a rejection, and that's never a very good feeling. However, often we walk away from a situation, we get onto a more calm state of mind, and we find that we're going to be okay, and we can move on, we can make a fresh start, we can do it on our own, or we can find new collaborators and co-conspirators to achieve these goals with. And I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.